Good evening and welcome to Talk the Book, the book review program of AP State Council of Higher Education. This is the 176th episode of the book review, and maybe very few students come forward and they volunteer to review the books of good importance, which is for their own generation. And one such student is with us, Miss Mungari Sowkhya. She is pursuing her second year of computer science engineering at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. Before we go ahead with review by Sowkhya, maybe I'll just a few things about Sowkhya. Sowkhya has a great passion for self-development and self-motivation. This is evident through the selection of the book that is going to be reviewed also. And she is hard working and is having a lot of passion towards reading. And not only that, apart from reading and writing articles, she is a classical singer since her sixth standard. And she is also a participant of social science exhibitions that were held in her school days. And she is also a good orator and has spread the awareness about water pollution in NCSC at Hyderabad. And she is a girl who thinks out of the box. And not only thinking out of the box, but will be curious of learning new things. And this habit of hers has inculcated the book reading habit. And now she is presenting the book review. That is, the book is 1021 by Peter Thiel. This particular book, 121, which was penned by the legendary entrepreneur and investor Peter Thiel, shows how we can fight singularly and find out ways to create new. Here about 0 to 1 from Sowkhya. Over to you, Sowkhya.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to the distinguished in-charge chairman and vice chairman of APSCHE, Professor K. Ramohan Rao Garu, esteemed members of APSHE, principals of various colleges, research scholars, and my dear friends. A very good afternoon to all of you. I am Sowkhya, currently pursuing my second year computer science and engineering in BTech at Andhra Loyola Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today, I am here to give you all a brief and detailed book review on the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel with Blake Masters. This book is about notes on startup or how to build the future. But before getting into this book, I would like to know that have you ever wondered since your school days or since your childhood that ancient people would have dreamed about flying in the sky, traveling large amount of spaces in a small amount of time? Like this, they would have dreamed. But right now, us in this 21st century, we are able to do all of that. And apart from that, we are doing a bit more. We're able to explore the space. We're going to explore the space, and we are thinking of human colonization on Mars. And this is what the true innovation is. And have you ever wondered that the axes, the hammers, or the tools which the ancient people have took were replaced with smartphones and jobs? And what made this transition happen? And yes, people call this as a miracle. And this miracle is nothing but technology. Technology has made this happen, replacing those axes with smartphones in our hands and the complete world in that smartphone in our hand. And this is what happened. So the book 0 to 1 is a book in which you can learn about how to build a startup or how to get ready for the future. And this is what by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and an investor. Apart from that, he is an early investor or early supporter for Facebook. And he's been tutoring many and mentoring many of Thiel Fellowship things. And now, apart from that, he's interested in finance and he had created a great impact on technology and finance. 0 to 1 book is completely about no, he's known for his role in founding and managing Thiel Foundations. Now, he is a Republican candidate for the US now 2022. His career blends with business acumen with political ambitions. 0 to 1 book is a book which creates a thought provoking and a human mind, and it helps to do something new with us. And like that, you know what? We have seen many of the successful entrepreneurs, such as Bill Gates, such as Mark Zuckerberg, such as Larry Page or Sergey Brin, and now there was some of the successful companies like Nvidia, Google, Amazon, and so on. You know what? Have you ever thought the next Bill Gates will not build an operating system? The next Larry Page or Sergey Brin won't create a search engine, and the next Mark Zuckerberg won't create a social media platform. And why would they create this? And if you're going to copy them, you aren't learning from them. If you're copying them, you aren't learning from them. If you want to do something new in that days in 2000s, I mean in 2000s and 2002, in that years there were no social media platforms, there were no search engines, and there was nothing like that. And they've created it then, and now they have become successful. It's like they didn't copy any ideas from others, or they didn't copy anything. It was something new, and it is something new, innovative. It is something strange and fresh in 2002 and 2003. And right now, it's the common thing which everyone will be having in this smartphones. And like this, the 0 to 1 had created a great impact. Like this, they've created a something impact from their past days to now. There is a lot of difference between 2002 to 2024 this year. And this is what can technology make. And apart from that, like if you're going to do something better, something new, if you want to start from something new rather than copying from others, if you're going to copy from others, it's going to be 1 to n. Therefore, the graph goes like this. In the beginning, in the present right now, it will be at the top. It decreases with time, it decreases with years. And this is what 1 to n is. In the present days, it is going to be a successful company. But later on, it would deplete with failure with time. That is why it is better to start with something new, something which is new and fresh. And that takes us from 0 to 1. In the beginning, initially, the company won't be successful and the company won't get that profit. So the company would be at 0th level. And later on, it would goes on increasing with time and later on, and it would be the highest one and it would reach to 1. Therefore, this process is not easy. You know what? Everyone doesn't choose this path. And this is what happened. And what companies know? Never thought. Everyone copies ideas and getting new something fresh. And this is what is happening. So for this, we have seen people who take the same path, same innovation, same kind. Google is a search engine. We have seen Microsoft Bing. We have seen DuckDuckGo. We have seen Ask.com. Many more search engines were created like that. So why don't we try something new in life? Why don't we try something new, which is better and which is strange, which is fresh in this industry? For this, we have famous poet written a poem which is The Road Not Taken. There were two roads which were there. Everyone follows the same road. Everyone goes on, like everyone, if a person is like getting into a company, and that particular person will be getting into the same path. Rather than choosing a new path, he take the same path. So that's why the road not taken, like successful people find value in unexpected places. People always go on in the same way, in the same expected path, in the same life, or same life manner, and the same innovations will be repeating itself. But the most successful entrepreneurs, the most billionaires would take a different path, a path which is different for present, but later on, mark my words, this is going to be something better in the future. And this is what is going to happen if you're going to choose 0 to 1 rather than choosing 1 to n. Right now, you may be successful, but later on, you will be going through utter failure. So the challenge of future. Have you ever thought of that? If since I've said there would be a challenge for you in the future if you're going to start a startup. For that, we all know that no one can predict the future. Mark my words, no one can predict the future. But we only know two things about the future. What are they? That it is going to be different. And if it is rooted in this world, if the future is going to be different, we have to root something present in this world. For that, let me say, if you want to start creating something new plan for that, you have to root something today in order to get the progress of that tomorrow, right? For that, if we think of future, we think of progress. We think of progress, which would be successful, which would be a much of meaningful. For that, when we think of the word future, we think of progress. And there were two types of progress. That is horizontal or extensive progress and vertical or intensive progress. Horizontal progress is something which everyone thinks of. It is easy to imagine. It's like copying things that work. We always take things which others do, we just add some salt to it and we'll just use that rather than starting something new. But whereas vertical progress, it is something harder to imagine. People won't even dare to imagine because the way is going to be hard. It is crooked, and we don't even know how to go in that way. We don't know what is ahead at the end of that particular route. For this, let us consider an example. Let us consider a typewriter. If a typewriter is created, if you're copying that typewriter, you'll be building 100 typewriters, and this is horizontal or extensive progress. People would copy, and they'll if you just created a typewriter here, and you'll just make it work somewhere else. That works here, you build 100, and you'll just export it to other countries. Rather than if you want to go from 0 to 1, that is, you're just thinking something out of the box, and you're going to try something new, and that is you're going to build a word processor. And this is nothing but vertical progress. If you're copying others' ideas, your graph would go like this. It won't even lift up. It will be just going like this. Rather, if you're going to do some vertical progress, you just started to building a word processor, which would go like this, and it will be vertical. So the graph 0 to 1 is something which is harder to imagine. People even never dares to imagine that thing. They tries to copy other thing, and then they'll just add some salt, and they'll just do some modification, and they'll do some incremental innovations rather than starting something new. At macro level, on a wide range, we can see China as the best example for horizontal progress. China's 20-year plan is to become like America. If America brings roads, they'll do that. If America starts telephone, they'll do that. Like, they have been copying China since it's developed. At that time, America is developing, so they thought of starting with America. So whatever America does, the China will be doing the same. And this is how it's going to be. Taking things, and the one word example for horizontal progress, or a single word which we can describe the horizontal progress, is globalization. Globalization is nothing but taking things that work here, and we'll be taking that things and make them work everywhere. Like taking things that work somewhere, we make them work everywhere. And this is how it is. For vertical progress, we can say technology is the best example. People say it is a miracle. Rapid progress of IT for decades made Silicon Valley as capital. We all know when it comes to the word technology, we people think that Silicon Valley is the best example. And this is how it's going to be. And yeah, if we say developed countries and developing countries, we know they were developed countries and they were developing countries. Developed countries are those which achieve the things which can be achievable. Rather, developing countries are those which are poor, like people cannot achieve them. Like they'll be trying and they'll be holding on to achieve that thing. Like poorer nations just try to catch it. We all know. In order to start a startup, you just need the largest group of people who can convince a plan to build a different future. That is the new thinking. A new thinking which people will never will be a very few will be trying to get. And like this, the best example for this for 0 to 1 startup is Nvidia. This company is founded in April 1993. It just thought of starting with calculations and all that kind of stuff for graphic based processing. Later, it became the best artificial intelligence based tech company right now. It is the leading company in artificial intelligence. It has even crossed the second most topmost company in the whole world. Its stock market race has increased rapidly with its growth. And this is how it went. When we say startup, people say, is it successful? Like success comes with luck or skill. People would getting the question. They'll think, will be luck matters? And some people say luck matters a lot. If you're lucky, then you'll be successful. And you know what? Malcolm Gladwell, a successful author, writes about successful people. He said once, success results from patchwork of lucky breaks and arbitrary advantages. And again, he said he just accepted success is nothing but lucky breaks and arbitrary advantages. And again, Warren Buffett considers his, he considers himself as the member of the Lucky Sperm Club or or the winner of ovarian lottery. He thinks that it has passed to him generations and it is in his genes, like that he thought of. And again, Jeff Bezos, and when once he was asked about Amazon's success, he said whether it is luck or skill. He simply said it's incredibly planetary alignment. And after that, he cracked jokes that it is half luck, half good timing, and the rest is brains. And then again, when it came to the same question came to Bill Gates, he said that he is lucky to be born with certain skills. And this is how successful entrepreneurs think of themselves. And they've just cracked a joke on this. Later, the real thing is hundreds of people have started multi-million-dollar businesses. And there were only few people who got successful and who got, you've started multi-billionaire dollar companies like Steve Jobs, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk. We all know Elon Musk as he just thought of thinking out of the box, in which Elon Musk have started with PayPal, a normal, it's like a paying app, online payment app, in which they'll be able to do transactions worldwide from currency to currency. And then later on, he just sold it for a good $1 million. And then later on, he started his real dream, like SpaceX and boarding company, in which people would have even his role models have said no, that it's impossible to get into to create human colonization on Mars. He failed 3 times utterly. People thought it would be the end of him and it is going to be a utter failure. But later on, you know what? Things changed. He chose the path 0 to 1 rather than 1 to n. Rather than copying others' ideas, he chose 0 to 1. He just tried to do something new things. And like this, he started his SpaceX, in which the fifth or fourth rocket has been the most successful one, and he became a multi-billionaire. And again, he started Hyperloop, which is like you'll be able to travel very fast at a minimum amount of time. In a very short period of time, you can just travel miles of kilometers. Like this, there were many innovations of him which led him to 0 to 1. And this is what had made him true legend of the century, of this 21st century. Apart from this, people would think, like I've said, luck is something which we need. But luck is something to be mastered, dominated, and should be controlled. The luck is something we need to control within our hands. Luck doesn't come to everyone. Those who have maintained some order, those who have did the required hard work for a particular thing, they'll be successful and they'll be lucky. And people call those hard work as luck. And they'll just use that one word as luck. And this was this guy, Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, "Shallow men believe in luck, believes in circumstances, whereas strong men believe in cause and effect." And Roald Emerson, who is the first explorer to reach South Pole, and he said, "Victory awaits him." Mark my words. Victory awaits him who has everything in order, luck, and this is what luck people call it. And when it comes to future, we think of planning, we think of designing our future. And there were certain countries, they'll just copy other countries and they'll just make it work for themselves. And there were two types of future. The future may be either better or the future might be worse. We don't know what it's going to be. But there were two things when it comes to future. Optimistic. That is, some people welcome the future. They're interested in the future. They want to build the future. Whereas pessimistic are the pessimists, or we call those people as pessimists, those who fear the future and those who want to live in the present rather than to create that particular future. And they were definite pessimists, definite optimists, and indefinite pessimists and indefinite optimists. Indefinite optimists are those people who looks on to a bleak future. They'll just looks on to a bleak future but has no idea what to do about it. The best example for that is Europe. Europe is the best example when it comes to indefinite pessimists. Like Europe has always been one of the we all know since it's been good in automobile engineering and all that. Rather, since early 19 like 1970s, Europe has got a bureaucratic drift, due to which European central banks are nothing but they'll be just concentrating on improvising rather than creating something new, rather than innovating, rather than moving on with some ideas. They'll be like using some other things, they'll be using the same path which United States have used, like that. It just Europe, it's we can say by this, it just reacts to events as they happen and hope things don't get worse. And this is how Europe has been for the past years. And the next category is definite pessimism. That is, people believes in future that can be known. Since it's bleak, they must prepare for it. They're afraid of the future and they are not able to, like, they'll be thinking of the future, they'll be prepared for that particular future and they'll be building that future. And China is most definitely pessimistic place in world today. It is growing ferociously fast and it's 10% per year since 2000. It's growing ferociously fast by copying United States ideas and then using the same particular innovations in it. Every other country believes that China would take over the whole world, but the country itself is afraid that it won't, because Chinese people are afraid because of its ancient history. They're so afraid that they'll be like uh, saving their money for the future, even though people who were rich and well settled would be afraid of that particular future. So they'll be preparing for the future. The best example would be, since China has a great population, they'll be having some competition in that. For that, they'll be having a Gaokao exam name. For that, students will be preparing for around 20 hours a day. Like that, they'll be preparing tirelessly for years in order to get a seat in prestigious university. If they're not able to get, that's it. There's no growth in their family. In order to make their family better, they'll be striving really hard in order to get a seat for them in a in good prestigious universities. Every class of China takes the future dead seriously. And the next class is definite optimism. Future will be better than the present if he plans and work out to make it better. We all know that in order to make the future better than the present, we'll be making and creating some ideas in order to make it a good to make it a good one. For that, each generation inventors and visionaries surpass predecessors. Definite planning even went beyond the surfaces of the planet. And the best example for that is NASA's Apollo program, began in 1961, and it just sent men onto the moon before it got completed in 1972. This is how definite optimism works. So before the deadline which we have created, we'll be completing that particular work because we have planned something. And at the last one is indefinite optimists. That is, they're really they are really welcoming the future, but they are not ready or they are not planned for that future. For that, we can say if we didn't plan, we'll be flexible. If we have planned, we'll be inflexible because depending on the situations, we'll be not able to getting out the things done. Rather, just and we'll be able to be flexible and inculcate the particular ideas which were needed at that particular point rather than being definite about the future. It is better to be indefinite but still preparing according to that time. And this is how it works. And the engineering questions. There were 7 engineering questions. If you're going to start, you just have to show that you're doing it at time and you're ready for that particular startup to be successful next 10 years or 20 years, to be ready. A strong reason, a strong decision in order for us to invest. Next one is durable something. It should be durable and it should be the best in order to carry it in the future. And the next one is the qualitative. The quality of your product should be the best. It should be adding on. For this, if you're going to start a startup, never concentrate on the sales, but on the products. If you're just best, if you're just making your product to be the good, and if you're going to like add something to it and make it the best product rather than focusing on sales. If you have just focused on sales, at one point your business might come down, but then later on it would be a huge failure. Rather than that, better you focus on your product and make it the best one. And in the conclusion, THIEL have started a fellowship which is for startups who are interested and who want to make something work and who want to invest in like something new and who want to go from 0 to 1 and who are like the ideas should be fresh and new and fresh and strange, and the new innovations should be make shaping the technology. For that, THIEL have started with Blake Masters in order to start that particular start your particular startup. At last, 0 to 1 is a book which we can like keep in mind, which we can be used as a guide for those startups who are really interested to start their startups and make something and make the world new. And it's something of to be mastered, and it's something to be which we can be starting off. At last, I would like to end this session. Before I conclude, let me please place on record all the encouragement and support from the Director, Reverend Father Dr. B. Joji Reddy S.J., Director and Secretary of Elliot, Dr. O. Mahesh, Principal, Reverend Father Balaswamy S.J., Assistant Director and dear Sister Dr. D. Kona, Dean of Student Activities, and the faculty members of CSC Department and Elliot, and the members of APSHE, especially Dr. Matthew Srirangam, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Sowkhya, for presenting a wonderful book, Zero to One, by the legendary entrepreneur and investor Peter Thiel. So you have presented very well that maybe small things matter much, and we should not be like copycats. And innovation, incremental or cosmetic innovations, but innovation should really bring something great out of the individuals. So once again, on behalf of State Council of Higher Education, I thank you for presenting us with 0 to 1. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear
Thank you
viewers,
so
and
much.
let us
Thank
meet
you.
again next Friday with a Telugu book review. Till then, be safe. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.